Good morning, Max. How was the weekend?
Morning, guys. Appreciate you running the schedule a little bit for me. I had a guy that didn't show up to our station over here, so I'm doing double duty this morning.
Max, what are your thoughts over the weekend? Some cream rises to the top. You got people mad in Athens, people mad in Auburn, and people happy in Baton Rouge, and people concerned in Tuscaloosa.
Well, look, the good, bad, and the ugly. I think you can look at it pretty well, like the great movie that Clint Eastwood did. I think certainly I'll talk about as far as good. I'll start over here. Ole Miss came away with a win first time against Arkansas in 5 years. By the way, they lost 4 straight, and it took them the last 80 seconds to go 85 yards to make the score to win that ball game by 5. But I enjoyed that one. I thought it was a lot of excitement, in particular for the Ole Miss fans. That's one. Of course, the ugliest thing I saw all year, I think the bad. Let's start with the bad next. It was in Baton Rouge. Kirby just couldn't get his team up to play at the level that they had to play. And I don't know what that was. Basically they hadn't played anybody at that level. But we talked about that, guys, last week. We knew that game was going to be physical. The only thing I'd said, if I recall, that I would almost guarantee a LSU victory if they played at night. And I thought that, it tilted the table a little bit toward Georgia playing in the afternoon. But LSU came out to play. And I think the biggest concern they got, not beating Georgia at number 2, which, by the way, they beat Miami and Auburn in the top 10 as well this year. But how do they respond this week with Mississippi State? I think over here, what we're hearing already all day yesterday was that State's think they got a chance because the emotion's going to be down at LSU. They won't play that well. Well, that remains to be seen, not that they are. And, of course, the ugly had to be in Auburn. I don't know what's going on down there, and I don't know whether you guys have any insight or not, but I talked to 2 or 3 folks. 2 or 3 folks that should know what's going in, and they're a little reluctant to talk as hard as probably I think about it. But I saw things. I saw the beginning of it against Mississippi State, where Kevin Steele and them did not make adjustments on the defensive side, stopped the quarterback draw. And then Saturday was just, I don't know what that was. After the first couple of drives, it was all over. Tennessee just wanted to know that they could take advantage of everything they did, and certainly, they come away with a win. So, there's got to be some in-house changes about the way that team is being handled. Or, they've looked at a possibility of not even winning enough ball games to get a bowl bid.
Yeah, that.
Well, I think the Georgia game. I think Georgia ran the football pretty hard, Max. I thought they ran it fairly hard. I would be a little bit. I would not be all excited about LSU. And I know they're not going to. But if LSU and Georgia played on a neutral field, or in the NC, or if they played in Atlanta, if something happened, LSU beat Alabama, I would pick Georgia in that game. I just think the crowd just got them so ready to play, and they got some breaks, and they deserve to win, no doubt about it. But I believe Georgia is a little bit better than they showed.
Yeah, I don't doubt that, Coach. I think Georgia, they got their futures week by week from here on. How do they respond? What do they do?
Sure.
And of course, they had one last year, and I think it depends on how Kirby handles that and how the kids react to that. But that's neither here to say that. To me, they don't have anybody else but Florida, and that's in Jacksonville into this mud. Basically, I don't think Auburn's going to be a challenge to them. I don't think anybody else will. No. As far as I know, they'll be back in Atlanta. LSU, I think we have to, just judge them week by week. I don't think anybody's projecting out. I know some of the LSU fans are, but I don't think they're really projecting out on LSU going to Atlanta. I've not heard one word, and I got a lot of good friends that have either been on that staff or very close to that program. They just say they were proud of that win to beat Georgia, and they're proud to to be where they are. They're all looking forward now to to that ball game with Alabama.
We're talking obviously with Max Howell. Max, Tua went in the tent. He was in there, I think they said 19 minutes. People timed it when he went in. His parents came down on the field, went in the tent. I've never actually seen that in college football where parents – I see it in Little League and maybe high school where parents come on the field. But parents came down on the field. There's all kind of rumors going around. Saban said he's okay. Could have gone back in. I don't know whether he was, he wasn't, this, that, and the other. He wasn't as sharp. I think it had a little bit to do with the sprained knee. How do you, depending on the severity of the knee, if it is a sprain, it needs time to rest. They got an alt week after Tennessee. Would you go into that game if you were Coach Saban and say, all right, we're going to start Jalen, and if Tua could play, we'll have him ready if we need him, or do you just put Tua out there and not give him a chance to heal? What's your take on that? How you handle that?
I wouldn't start. I wouldn't have started this past week, guys. He was limping the last game, and I think that was kind of a pressure thing. It probably came to himself. He wanted to play and all, but it was evident he wasn't 100%. Again, if I'm the head coach there, I'd dress him out. I let him rest this week, and they got their whole seasons ahead of them. And Jalen, look, you can't knock him for starting Jalen Hurts. I mean, here's a guy that was 26-2, won a championship, and took it to one. I don't think there's a change in game planning with Jalen Hurts as opposed to Tua. You're not going to have a 30-second scoring drive or 18 or whatever those records that they set over there. But the fact is, and Coach Saban's been around long enough. We all know that he's going to do the right thing. He's going, he'll talk to the doctors, find out what they say, and he'll talk to Tua. Of course, Tua's going to say he wants to play.
Sure,
you know that, but he has to make that final decision. And look at that schedule. I believe the next time he'd be on the field for me would be against LSU.
Yeah, I agree. Or maybe have him ready if he can play, if you need him a little bit. But if you don't need him, then you got the off week. He's got really, if you don't do much this week, 3 weeks really to let that sprain heal, and then he'll be ready for the stretch run. Dap?
Yeah, it'd be Jalen Hurts and Matt Jones and then Tua on the depth chart. And look, how much? First of all, even if he was 100%, how much more can he improve? I think that's the way you look at it. And the kid's playing at such a level right now that and I know that the talk of the Heisman and all that stuff. We've heard all of that. But Coach Saban's he's interested in winning, and in winning that championship again. And I think that's what it probably needs to be talked about. And the way you do that, again, from an observation standpoint, is just you have him, as you said, have him on the sideline ready to play if he needs to. But he's number 3 until we go to LSU.
Yep, Dap.
Seemed to me like Tennessee had been in the film room, and Auburn had too. Auburn, they score 24 points and get beat, and you can. I guess that's the question to you. I know seven of them were late, but I thought the surprising thing to me was the improvement that Tennessee made offensively. They were certainly a lot better than they had been against a team that we thought was going to be so good defensively, maybe best in the league. Is this a Tennessee team that lost a linebacker for one half, being kicked out of the game? They lost another linebacker due to injury. Is this a Tennessee team that can threaten Alabama at all?
No, I don't think so, Coach. They caught Auburn at a time when they're almost at the bottom. And again, look, hats off to Jeremy Pruitt. I think the team is getting better. But, they're going to beat something this week they had seen before. The defense is going to play well, and their offense is adequate. And as you said, they improved some. They showed some improvement. And they may win a game or two. Always Tennessee's easiest part of their schedule is at the end. Coach Foreman did that years ago, and certainly it's stuck pretty well. So, I think they'll play Alabama. Okay, Alabama's score another 30 to 40 points. I just believe that. They got just too much talent, too much depth. And I think now, particularly if Tua doesn't play or doesn't play a full game, or even play just sporadically during the game at all, I think the team will step up. And you'll see a lot more. That's even though it may not have quite the glitter that it had years ago, the third Saturday in October, it's still Tennessee. and the players have learned that and know that themselves. Coach Saban certainly knows that, and I think they go in that one to win. I think they'll. I don't even know the line's probably 20 plus.
Well, the line's not out yet because they don't know if Tua's playing, so Vegas is holding.
Right. But I still say they'll win by 20 plus. I just from the Tennessee standpoint, I'm proud that they've improved to that point. On the other hand, from the Auburn standpoint, in this game this past week, it's got to be one of the most embarrassing losses in the history of the school.
Wow, Max. I think Jeremy Pruitt, though, I thought they played well against Georgia. I think his team has gotten tougher. Yeah. They've taken on his personality and getting better. Where some teams are going backwards here at the midway point, I think Tennessee they are showing improvement each week, and they're buying into what he sells, aren't they, Max?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, I think I said after that ball game that Tennessee exposed a few things for Georgia. That hadn't been shown at that time, mainly because of the level of competition. I think I'm taking nothing away from what Kirby's been able to do. But I said from day one that they'd never beat Alabama in the championship. They won't even play as close as they did last year. That team is not as good as it was last year because they got too many young kids. When you replace 7 starters on the defensive side, I don't care who you are. You can't be quiet. Even Alabama has some glitches in their defense this year when they had to replace those defensive backs. So we know it's hard to do. You should get better as the season unfolds. I'd be really interested to see how Kirby handles the loss because of all the hype that the kids have gotten. I think it's going to be a big challenge. And I say all that to say that Tennessee did expose some things that Georgia had not seen before, or that maybe we hadn't seen out of Tennessee. Maybe that's the way I ought to praise it. But I think if Georgia will rebound and Tennessee will get beat again this week, Tennessee's sitting at 3-3. Whether they get to 6 or not, I think I said early late in the summer and early in the fall that if they got 6 wins, that would give Jeremy Pruitt Coach of the Year in the SEC because Butch Jones did not leave them with a whole lot of talent, not coachable talent anyway.
Max, I don't know if you saw it. It made me want to throw up. Philip Fulmer was in the locker room after the game. It's on Twitter. I tweeted it out. He's addressing the team with his Tennessee hat on, and then he has them chanting, "We don't give a damn about the state of Alabama," and they're all jumping up and down in the locker room. I mean, he rode John Curry right out of there, and he's basically addressing. If I'm Jeremy Pruitt, I'm looking at him like I'm from the state of Alabama, number one, and I'm looking at him like, I mean, I don't mind you coming in here and congratulating my team, but we don't need all that going on. Philip Fulmer's in the way.
Here's the thing, Barry. You gotta really look deeper than that. That whole university has been in turmoil for about 6 or 7 years. They've had 3 university chancellors. They've had 3 athletic directors, and this is the 3rd or 4th coach in the last 6 years up there. So I think the whole, again, I'm not excusing it, don't get me wrong, but I do understand it. Fulmer is there, and not in as a long term. He's still just an interim athletic director, though he got a contract. He's doing everything he can to help him. Here's what they're concerned about, guys, is the fan base. They're concerned about the fan base not showing up and putting 110,000 in that stadium up there. Because that carries over from expectation, and the expectation had dropped considerably. What they were 1-3 at one time. But the bottom line is that he's doing everything he can. I think I agree with you. I think it was a little overboard.
A little.
The fact is I do understand it. I really do.
Yeah, I just thought it was too. It made me sick. Dad, go ahead.
Well, you don't like Fulmer.
No, but I'm just saying, get out of the way. You're not the football coach. Now, if you want to walk in there and congratulate them, but lead them in a chant, "We don't give a damn about the state of Alabama," and jumping up and down right when you're getting ready to play Alabama, I think.
Well, that part that didn't kick in yet. That kicked in this morning.
Yeah. Jeremy's like, thanks.
Jeremy doesn't need him in there. That's for darn sure. I agree with Barry on that. That's ridiculous. I think this. If you look at the schedule of LSU, if you want to just play games as far as winning and losing, leaving out the Alabama game, the biggest game they have is A&M. I mean, State will be hard, but it'll be at home. But A&M on the road. the last game of the season before the SEC deal. To me, this puts a lot more emphasis and a lot of pressure on Alabama. And I know Alabama handles it. Pressure on Alabama. LSU's not expected to be in Atlanta anyway, and Alabama is. But a win by LSU there, if they were to get by A&M, it just puts a lot of pressure on Alabama, this LSU game. And I know it's a couple of weeks away.
Yeah, it is. But, I think at that level, once you get there, and Alabama's been there so many times, that's I hate to say this, but it is just another week of practice. It's another ball game at that particular time. And I think that's the way they handle that. Again, I'm trying not to look back. I just think, all right, what's up next? I take nothing away from what Jimbo's been able to do. I thought they'd go in and get a win at South Carolina. It was close, but again, they won. They're improving each week. And I think what Jimbo's doing at A&M is he's changed the culture out there. That bunch for years and years and years have been mediocre at best and non-consistent. Is where I always tag them. They can go out and win a big ball game, then lose 2 or 3 they weren't supposed to. I think that's the thing that Jimbo really felt like he had to change. Now, the way that they got the lineup on what they got left, he may end up winning. I think he's going to probably be 8-4, 9-3 at best, I think. But, I think where he's got the program headed in the right direction. Hey, I think their recruiting classes is first, second, and third by different polls. The lowest I've seen them anywhere is 3, and that's something they haven't done out there in years.
Max, I had people jump on me. I thought Derek Mason, he's got a chip on his shoulder, and he's. I know he thinks he's in Vanderbilt. They're disrespected, but he comes across the field there, and I can't tell you for sure, but I think he probably initiated running his mouth to Florida's bench. They were going to win that game, and then when he went over there and did that, I turned to my wife and said, "Florida's about to steamroll these boys," because it got so heated. When he got heated, the talent's going to take over. Does Derek Mason have a chip on his shoulder, in your opinion?
I don't know what he said, but I've been watching Dan Mullen from the sideline all along. I had never seen him. They have to restrain him like that. So he said something to him that really, really fired him up. And I recall on the block, it was just like a crackback block, I believe. I don't think it was a targeting or anything. And I know they're trying to protect all the kids. I understand all that today. But for that to emerge like that, you're right, Barry. That definitely changed the attitude of the ball game.
Yeah.
And the team. Look, when Mason came from Stanford to Vanderbilt, he should have understood. And he's been in the league long enough to know that you are Vanderbilt. Now, I think a lot of that internal pressure comes. James Franklin got 9 wins twice before he got the Penn State job. And I don't look for the Vanderbilt. I'm not going to say ever, but it's going to be a while before they get back to that. They can't get enough players to play in the third and fourth quarter. I mean, we've seen that for years with them. But the fact is, I don't know what his attitude is. He's probably getting some internal pressure as well, and I think he may be one of these guys that he'll create a scene if he has to, if he thinks that's the thing to do. Sometimes that backfires him. This past Saturday.
Yeah, I think he thinks I'm fighting for my team. Well, I think he hurt his team by doing that because he woke Florida up and they weren't. They were asleep, to be quite honest with you.
Yes, they come off of they came off that big win from LSU the week before, and they had already seen the tape on Vanderbilt. They didn't go in with a good, sharp, crisp attitude about going. I heard all Dan Mullen's talk all week long, but we got to practice hard every day. We have to take one guy. That's coach speak. I understand that, but when you go in the room, in the film room, and you turn that tape on, and you say, "Hey, we just beat LSU, and now let's look at what we're looking at now." There's a drastic difference when you're in that room breaking that tape down. So I think that was Florida's problem. They were kind of sleepwalking until that happened, but it was just like throwing gasoline on the fire when they started that.
Yeah.
Well, Max, before I let you go, I mean, we may have a lot more time, but we got an uninteresting Final Four if it were to fall today. Clemson's okay, played nobody. Notre Dame is lucky to beat Pittsburgh, maybe. Ohio State, I thought, was very, very good. They're okay. They're pretty good. and the SEC team. I'm not going to say it's Alabama. It could be Alabama, Georgia, or LSU. It doesn't jump out at you like it has in past years.
No, I think the whole thing, and I'm just from my standpoint, you guys are right there, is about Tua. If Tua's healthy and play that, ain't nobody out there can play with him. They've already shown that. Now, if you no disrespect to Jalen Hurts, but he's a different dimension. There's a reason he lost his starting job. We know that. But you're right. I mean, look, if I called a ball game for a radio station in Birmingham the last time Alabama Notre Dame played in 2012. And that was the biggest farce I'd ever seen. And I think they're the same thing. Now, you remember Vanderbilt came within 5 points beating the earlier part of the season. Vanderbilt, even I was listening to some national folks earlier this morning, they're even at that level, they're saying, hey, Notre Dame, even though they may get there, they won't last through the first round. And I truly believe that. Clemson, I don't know, something else internally. Kelly Bryant leaves, and that front four is going to be the best, in the history of the school and all that stuff. I haven't seen it out of them. I mean, they're struggling week by week to get there. Ohio State, I do think is legitimate, even though they don't play consistently. They just got enough talent. They're going to win. And it looks like to me it's Alabama and Ohio State. Obviously whoever come out a winner there. That'll be first and forward 2 and 3 playing to get there.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be Alabama and Ohio State to play for the championship.
Well, Max, great stuff. We look forward to visiting with you Friday. We'll have more information, hopefully about Tua today from Coach Saban in his noon press conference. Everybody will be hanging on every word he says there. So we'll see what happens.
I know that'll be a fact, guys. I cooked steaks for 12 last night. I can't wait to see you back on Friday.
Thanks, Max.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you, guys.